Oh, you guys are pretty happy.
All right. Welcome to class. My name is Andre Koen, and I will be the instructor for this particular class. And I think I have one more syllabus to pass out. Hello.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So just a little bit about me. I don't know if you, I forgot what I put on the Moodle or what's available about me and why they selected me to be in front of you. But I'll just give you some just basic information about me. I have a master's in educational technology. My undergrad is in organizational leadership. I taught high school and middle school. I taught high school for 8 years and then middle school within that school for 4 years. They about killed me. Let's see. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. I've been here about 25 years now. Prior to my current job as a diversity consultant, I was the affirmative action officer for Anoka County. So I worked for the government there. And I was a student, I've been a teacher, and I love the relationships that we have around those things. I also have a passion around diversity, but typically not because of the reasons that people might think. Because I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I'm black. No, it's true. Really, I am. You know. And so people certainly think that I have a specific take on things, and I often don't. But we'll talk about what those things are as we spend the rest of our time together in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. All right. So if you don't mind, I know that you guys know each other pretty well. Is that correct? This is not your first time together for the most of you. Is that okay? Cool. So if you wouldn't mind just going around the room, and we'll start with Nick, and come on around to Jody. Okay. Oh, I see. Jody. That's okay. That's okay. Just tell me what you hope to do with your education, and possibly, why you want to be an educator. Like, what intrigues you about that process. So go ahead, Nick.
Sure. My name is Nick Carlson. I am social studies 512. Let's see. Well, I farm, and I would like to teach because I really enjoy, like you said, the relationships you have with students. I think it's a great way to have a big impact, and I just love the relationships.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Leah. A lot of reasons I can't think of one. I do science, and I just got done teaching in college anatomy and physiology. I can't think of a really good reason. I think there's a lot of them why I like to teach, but I just do. So.
I'm Jake, and I'm social studies. Just getting to teach because I think I like to be a role model for younger students. So,
Okay.
Biggest reason.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm Wendy, and I'm wanting to be a middle or high school math teacher. And what do I want to teach? I like kids, and I really love math.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that I can help kids love it.
Help them love it too.
Yes, love it. Yeah, maybe love it, but at least tolerate it.
All right. Cool. Sally.
Hi, Sally. I'm science. And the reason I am here generally is because I just love teenagers, and I finally realized a while ago it's like, wow, teaching is the best way to love on teenagers.
Okay. Cool.
Jennifer, I'm also science subject area to be a chemistry teacher, and I guess I just like to be a part of the process of people discovering new things and making their own.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm Toby. I'm business. I had a lot of poor teachers, I would say, and poor coaches, and that's not, I kind of wanted to get into teaching in order to impact kids in a positive way.
Sweet. Yeah. Because we all have had sucky teachers and sucky coaches, so that's certainly one way to learn, right? Yes, sir.
I'm Kevin, also business, and
guess for a lot of the same reasons, I coached, and I coached a lot of teenagers and high school age kids, and came to realize that I really like those interactions and those relationships as well.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I'm Amanda. I want to teach high school Spanish, and part of that is because I want to help them break out of their own little worlds and just see more of what's out there and be able to talk to different people.
All right. Cool.
I'm Mindy, and I am 5 and 12 science, and I want to teach because after I graduated my undergrad, I went to Korea to teach English. Not really to be a teacher, but more like, well, I wanted to try it and go on an adventure. And I taught middle schoolers, and just the moment you get them to respect and like you was like the coolest feeling in the world. And so there's no like exaggerations, and that's like my bit today.
Oh no, you're not going to do well, John, in this class. Oh Lord.
So yeah, he's not very happy.
Not that I don't like exaggerations, it's just that like too many of them were too over the top.
Yeah. You're going to hate me, John. You're going to hate me.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
So I'm John. I'll be teaching English, and I guess the best way to describe me is I was kind of a wanderer as far as picking a career path, and I didn't feel like I was able to make a difference until I tried being in the education system, and then I feel like I really was making, a difference in the lives of other people, and it felt really good to me.
Sweet.
So then I went further and signed up for.
And here you are. Welcome. You wander no longer. All right, Sally.
Another Sally. I'm Sally Adam. Business education, 5 through 12. I've been a sub for 14 years, and when I finally had kids out of the house, I decided to take it to another level. I love working with kids. I love to learn, and I love having kids learn, and hoping they find joy in that.
Sweet. Thank you, Sally.
My name's Christina. In my undergrad, I started being an elementary ed major with science as my specialty area. And when I started student teaching, I decided I did not want to be a teacher. Like, I like hanging out with kids, but I hated being in charge of the discipline and all that stuff. So, yeah, hate. So, I've just been doing whatever for the last few years, and I started teaching at a day program for adults with disabilities. I've been teaching there, and I really, really like it. And so I said, well, maybe I could be a teacher. So I'm getting my specialty in art education, because people like art and they find joy in it, and it really helps people find themselves and they can be creative, and I really enjoy seeing what people can make with their independent work and just being able to express themselves with art. Satisfying me.
Cool. Thank you. Brian.
Okay, I'm Brian. Spanish. I love Spanish culture, the language. I've worked with the Hispanic community for years, especially with the youth. So it's time for me to get away from corporate America and devote myself even more to working with the youth and helping them to advance and improve.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm Jennifer, and I'm going to be an English teacher. I say I want to be a teacher because I wanted a job where I could actually really care about what I was doing instead of just going because they have to make money. And I know when you're working with students, you can't not care about their future. So they're the most important thing.
All right. Cool. Hello.
I'm Sophie, TESOL, and I think I want to be a teacher.
TESOL is?
Teaching English to the
Okay.
languages.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I want to be a teacher because I do enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not sure.
No,
It's kind of expensive not to be sure.
You never know.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Robin.
I'm Robin. I'm a science teacher, so I'm getting my science license. And I'm currently teaching, kind of fell into it, sort of in a roundabout way. I was a science tutor here at Mount Hollow, and I got my master's in plant sciences. And that wasn't enough, and I got called to be a Christian school teacher.
Oh, sweet.
So I love my job. I love being able to teach science to kids, and I be able to, and to pray in my own classroom also. So.
I'm Effie, and why I decided to become a teacher is kind of a long story, but I also used to be in corporate America and kind of realized how not very meaningful it was for me, and so I decided to go back to teaching because I've always wanted to be a teacher, and yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yes.
I'm Dan.
Dan.
Dan. Social studies. And the next question is why you want to teach, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to be sure. Because I really like social studies in general, political science, history, that kind of stuff, and I really enjoy working with youth and students. So I just thought I'd put them together.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you did.
I'm Hannah. I'm social studies. And the reason why I wanted to become a teacher is I went to the Veda Institute, and a lot of those girls and boys that are there don't believe they can learn at all. And they're really intelligent, but I want to make sure that kids like that do know that they can achieve academically too.
Okay. Cool. Jody.
My name's Jody, and kind of maybe like my second career path. I've been an actor for a long time. Now that I'm getting a little bit older and I have 3 kids, it's not quite the perfect lifestyle for a family being gone at night and on the weekends. And I've always enjoyed teaching classes, usually acting classes or something like that. But my content area is communication arts and literature, because there's not a specific theater program. So hopefully I'll be doing a little bit of both.
Cool. I used to do improv comedy and those late nights and bars and that kind of stuff.
I could tell. I was wondering if you were a performer of some sort. I could tell right away when you started talking.
No, it's actually just because I used to act up at home. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm Nicole. I did my undergrad in interior design, and I always grew up loving art and took tons of art classes, and I've also been a coach for about 6 years, and so teaching is just a way for me to kind of combine both my passions.
Cool. And Jenna.
I'm Gemma. I'm social studies. I want to teach. My undergrad's in psychology, and I actually was in grad school for a while for school counseling, and did some hours with a school counselor, and decided that teaching was kind of more my route.
Okay.
So started this process.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you are all here, because if you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. So, I mean, they wouldn't have hired me. I'm really happy that you're here. It is my hope this class will be experiential in nature. Obviously, we'll go through the syllabus. We'll talk about some of the things in the syllabus. But I really want your participation in terms of getting what you need out of this class and getting what you want out of this class, because sometimes those aren't the same things. And so, I have a bunch of stuff that we'll run through. I obviously, the Moodle is up, and you have the syllabus. But I'm really curious as to what you were hoping you would get out of this class, or things that you hope we don't talk about that you've talked about a million times in other classes. And so, what are some things that you were hoping that we might talk about in this class, or at least explore, or maybe things you're like, I don't ever want to talk about that again. I'm tired of that. So, thoughts? Yes, Brian.
How to best communicate, work with at-risk children and help them.
Okay. All right. Other folks? Yes, Jennifer.
I'm afraid of coming out in a way that sounds insensitive, but I've grown up in a very non-diverse and sheltered community and gone to, non-diverse schools. And so I really like to learn about how to have those kind of open conversations about race and diversity and stuff without being politically incorrect or offending anybody.
Yeah, and that is something that I want to bring up right now in this class. So first of all, one of the things that you guys know each other a lot better than I know you. I mean, we've just been introduced. I would hope that we are operating from the top of our intelligence. That's a concept that we use in improv comedy, right? That we assume the best of people, even if they don't necessarily present it in the best way. So if you want to drive me crazy, try to talk politically correct, and that's not what you mean, right? So if at all possible, be as authentic with your words. So even if they seem politically incorrect, because we can correct the words, but I really want to hear what your question is. And so that's great, Jennifer. Thank you so much for opening that up. What's a good way for me to sum that up, that question, Jennifer?
I don't know, how to have like an open discussion or dialogue about those tough issues without being offensive, inauthentic, I guess. Sorry,
Okay.
English person used too many words.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I just need to get that down so I have it in my head. Yes, Nick.
Yeah, so I did my undergrad here, and we studied James Koen. Do you know James Koen?
I don't.
He's a liberationist.
Okay.
I was just curious if we're going to cover anything on that spectrum. Are we going to cover extremes at all or not?
I mean, extremes that's a loaded word.
Yes, it is. Basically, his stance was like, we're not, as the majority, we're not supposed to bring up.
We will talk about different theories or schools of thought associated with diversity stuff, right? So a big part of why I want you guys to get this book is because I think they talk about all of them here. So I will also tell you that I am a Paulo Freire student. And it sounds like Paulo Freire works a lot around liberation, this concept of liberation. And so we'll talk about some different theories around that stuff. All right. So other folks, yes. Leah.
Okay, so something that I think would be interesting. I've had students. I called them out on behavior issues, and they turned it into something about race or poverty. When that's not even what you're going for. Like, how do you deal with that when they just turn the pages on you, and you're like, no, it was because you got up and ran around in the classroom. It wasn't. What are you talking about?
So classroom management, we'll deal a lot with that in terms of classroom management. But the funniest thing will be for me to ask you, how did you respond to that?
Oh, gosh, I can't remember. It was a mother. She was an older adult, so I was shocked for a minute.
Oh, so this wasn't a student?
So she was my student. It was at a college level.
Oh, okay, so it's a college
level. She was 10 years
level.
older than me, and she said it was because she was Hispanic and a single mother, and I said, well, no, it's because you talked through my lecture. And it was so mind-boggling to me, I couldn't even understand it.
Yeah.
And so just those kinds of
So we'll talk about that in terms of classroom management and because there's a trick with that. There's a reason why people. Have you heard the expression using the race card? Right? That goes both ways. So one side of the card is black, the other side is white, and people who fall in between that spectrum don't have a card. I'm joking. So we'll talk about that because there's something else going on when people use that. All right? What? Yes.
I'd like to just hear about what different people and different teachers are doing now. Especially at the high school level, and I took a class in high school that was called Positive Leadership, I think, or something along those lines. And so it was a really cool experience. But what other people are doing, what works, what doesn't work.
Anyone in a school right now has a diversity initiative or inclusive initiative or anything like that? Anyone? Marco? Sort of.
I work in a mom school.
Okay.
And they try, it's more about, a lot about global learning and accepting different perspectives.
Okay. All right. So there are some folks around town, and we'll talk about them as well. Some folks I agree with, some folks I don't. And you have the same prerogative. So I'll just introduce them to you. You can say, that's baloney, just like I would say. That's what I would say. It's baloney. All right. What else? Anything else? Yes.
I hope this class doesn't turn out to be a class on how to deal with others. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the flip side of that?
Or more of why and what to do, not how to deal. Like,
Okay.
because it seems like that's a little more passive thing to just say, okay, tell me how to deal with this type of person or these type of people or this situation. It's more of why is it this situation? Why do I have this relationship? And what is the ideal relationship look like? Not how.
Okay.
Not an instructional model.
Cool. And we'll certainly will do that, and I think you'll see that in my style. That's certainly not something that I subscribe to. I don't believe that people should be an experience for someone else. So we'll talk about that. All right. Yes, Amanda.
Like how to connect with students when they don't seem to have any similarities with you for whatever reason.
Okay. There was another. Yes.
I guess in terms of what I don't want it to be, I'm willing to admit that I don't understand a lot about Black and Asian and other cultures. And instead of convincing me that I probably have hidden biases, which I'm fully willing to admit I'm sure I do, to get to the point of now what am I going to do about that?
Yep.
What does that look like in the classroom? Knowing that that's probably rolling around in there somewhere, how am I going to be an effective teacher? Instead of spending a lot of time convincing me that they're rolling around in there, because I'm sure they are.
Yeah. There's a concept, and again, in school districts throughout the United States, and more so in my experience in the Twin Cities, there's a conversation that people like to have around this concept of white privilege. And I'm not sure if folks have had exposure to that or not, but we'll talk about why that's problematic because of many of the things you just identified, Wendy. So, my job is not to convince you how bad you are as individuals. My job is to give you tools on how to better relate and be effective teachers in the classroom to everyone. Yes, Sally?
We haven't talked about the needs of students who are poorer.
Yep.
I have several students who have a lot of financial needs, and so I want to talk about the mindset that puts them in.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Anything else? This is the only time that you can ask questions, by the way. So if we don't get them all right now, that's just fine. We'll get them at some point. All right. Cool. So let's do an activity, and then we'll get to the syllabus. We'll crank through that, talk about that. So what I'd like you to do is to take out a piece of paper, and I want you to draw 5 circles in that piece of paper. And the circles need to be big enough for you to put information inside of. All right? So big enough to put information inside of. All right? What I'd like you to do now that you have the 5 circles